before I go, you said you're serving with Commander Shepard now? We saw him on the news here. He's cute. Later, sis.
Hi.
Tell me you didn't hear that.
Okay. I'll tell you I didn't hear that.
Afraid I did.
It's a funny read.
Shoot me now. One of my sisters. That's
Is she
Sarah,
hot?
the youngest. Surprised to see you here, sir. Thought you'd be chatting up, what's her name? Tassoni?
Liara?
Liara? Why would you think that?
Scuttlebutt says you got a bit of a thing for her.
What the
I
hell?
could understand why. The crew's off limits with the regs against fraternization. And at least she looks like a woman.
I can't really say at this point that Shepard has shown any romantic interest in Liara at all. Not to say that wouldn't be the case going forward, but at this point he's just kind of concerned because, well, the mission that we brought her onto the ship from was pretty traumatic. She was captured, or rather trapped, and almost kidnapped by the Geth. And then the very next major mission that we go on, her mom died. So I think it's pretty justifiable to say that, you're spending some extra time making sure that she's okay. I don't think that necessarily implies romance. Apparently the crew disagrees. The rumor mill is running. Yeah, so far Ashley's told us what she's hearing. The scuttlebutt, she said. But let's see what she thinks. I guess maybe I'm asking this more so because Shepard's feeling kind of awkward. He really doesn't know how to respond. He could tell her that she's out of line. I think she probably is out of line, but Shepard, I don't think, wants to speak that bluntly with a crew member. An Alliance crew member, anyway.
You think I'm interested in Liara because she's the only one I'm allowed to date?
So you are interested in her?
Of
course, it could be politics. Alien diplomat's daughter, us under orders to make nice with the bug-eyed monsters. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on Family Mail.
I didn't mean to eavesdrop, no. But what about your family? What is your sister doing? Where is she?
Your family seems to be important to you.
Okay. Your family seems to be important to you.
We've always been close. Me and my sisters especially. With Dad on duty so much, I had to help Mom raise them.
Oh, so you're the oldest.
After helping raise them, your sisters still talk to you? Amazing.
Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
Why the pause? What was the bonding?
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who wanted to go faster than she did. Mike.
Typical Mike move.
I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would send me these worried vid mails, and I'd tell her to relax.
Vid mails? Why would I be asking about vid mails? That sounds like something very standard in this futuristic age. Boys will be boys. No, we're probably a little bit more enlightened than that. Worried vid mails, and I'd tell her to relax. Okay, so you told her to relax. Clearly that's not how things ended, though.
Sounds like that situation didn't last.
Yeah.
Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, because he figured it was past time they did the deed. She levered Mike face first into a tree and left.
Fuck
Didn't have
yeah.
a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense.
Nice work,
I took
Sarah.
emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
Your sister sounds like a kick-ass chick. Police? Oh, yeah, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, that's a good point. Did you press charges? Because this guy kind of sounds like a scumbag. He'd surely be doing it again to some other woman.
Why didn't you tell the police?
She said it wouldn't solve the real problem, and she and Mike would both become household names. It was a small colony. I said it was her call to make, that we should let her do it her way. Mom was pretty pissed about that.
Yeah, I can understand that. What kind of self-defense did you guys learn?
You said all of your sisters learned self-defense?
Lynn did pistol practice, but didn't like it. She's kind of nervous. Sarah took Aikido. Abby decided to learn the sword.
Jesus, how
She
many
always
sisters
was
do
a
you
little
have?
weird. Likes big skirts and tops you have to tie her into. They do great things to her figure, though.
Huh? What about you? What self-defense did you learn?
So, what did you learn?
Love.
One of Dad's friends
Sorry.
taught me Marine hand to hand.
Whoa, sweet. That's awesome. What happened with that scumbag dude?
Did anything happen while you were home?
My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy. I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her.
Man.
I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk, and there's blood everywhere.
Whoa. She hit him?
She cracked him in the face. Good.
When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding.
Sounds like
and
Bruce
had to
Lee.
call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was going to end up on the ground again. But he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying. I
Oh,
hugged him.
alligator tears.
The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
That was pointless. What a horrible option. That was pointless. Even a real asshole wouldn't say that. After asking questions and encouraging the story to come out, you don't say that. Even a total prick wouldn't say that at the end of the story. Yeah, that is an interesting story. I like that story, actually. Your sisters, you guys sound like a close-knit bunch. I like a good tight family story. I don't know. Pem speaking here, coming from a family with 3 boys, and it was, growing up, I think I've mentioned this in other videos, but the neighborhood that we grew up in, we didn't have a lot of friends in the neighborhood just because the kids were very, very different from us, and we just didn't feel comfortable hanging out with them. And so it was kind of the 3 of us on our own all the time, making our own fun and kind of looking out for each other. And so stories of like close-knit family and siblings that take care of each other is always kind of like, yeah, fucking A, man, that's good.
Your sister's something else.
Why Malcolm
But you
likes that
didn't
story, I
mention
don't
your
know.
father. Was he on
He
the
doesn't have
planet?
any family.
Dad always wanted to serve in space, but he wanted us to have real ground under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family there.
Rocket
I
Man!
cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I've enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments.
My impression from the internet community, anyway, Mass Effect fan community, is that a lot of people don't like Ashley. And I'm wondering if this is one of the reasons, the quoting poetry. I always liked Ashley, I don't know. I think maybe because of the family angle and because she's a pretty kick-ass soldier, I don't know. She's a fairly strong female character, and I'd have to run through it again in my head what her story. I know she has very little to do in the second game. I don't want to. Okay, I'm getting into spoilers here. In the third game, I don't remember what missions revolve around her. I don't think any of them are like male-centric, though. I think she may be one of the female characters in the game that is, her personality and her likes and dislikes and everything that you learn about her is kind of independent from males, which is nice. Apart from, her occasional references to her dad, who she obviously cares about, but it's not like her dad, still haunts her or something like that, like it does with Tali or Jacob or that kind of thing. So, or Miranda, for that matter. Anyway, so I could see why the quoting poetry thing is boring. Not boring. Annoying, maybe. That might be one of the reasons. I think maybe another reason that people get annoyed with Ashley is because of the religious angle. But, I don't know, she's intriguing to me in spite of that. She's more interesting maybe not because of those things, but she's still an interesting character in spite of it, I guess. I wouldn't know what that poetry is. I don't think. I've been a military man my whole life, and my education was probably not too focused on the arts. I wouldn't say what's this crap, though. I would have an appreciation for what she's trying to do here.
I never thought I'd hear you reciting poetry.
Just because I can drill you between the eyes at 100 meters doesn't mean I can't like sensitive stuff.
Hey, nobody's
Just
saying
don't
you
throw
can't.
it around. Ulysses was my dad's favorite poem. Every time he shipped out, he recorded me reading it. He had a dozen versions when he retired.
Really? That's sweet, but also kind of weird.
Does he still like it?
Oh, come
I
on.
sure hope so. I read it to his grave every time I go home.
Oh.
Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though. So behave.
See, in real life, if you didn't agree with her, you would just say, or if you didn't know what, you would know what she was talking about. You'd be like, oh, yeah, still watching you. Okay. And even if you didn't agree with her, even if you thought, no, there's no afterlife or something like that, you would just kind of silently nod and, say, oh, okay, and then you'd move the conversation on to something else. Unless you were just a complete dick, This is the complete dick move right here. Yeah, sure he is. This one, it's obvious that she's talking about from the afterlife, and I don't know what this one is even about. But I don't have a choice. Well, I do have a choice, but I have to choose one of these three. I don't have an option outside of these three. So, watching you still from the afterlife, huh?
You mean from wherever we go after death?
Dead on, Skipper. He's with God now. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
Does Malcolm believe in God? I would think he probably has a hard time believing in God, given what he's experienced in his life. Some people have traumatic experiences that they survive, dangerous experiences that they survive, and they come out thinking, God looked out for me, that's why I survived. Other people have similarly traumatic experiences or life-threatening experiences and survive and come out of it thinking, there is no God, otherwise why would all these horrible things have happened to these people that I care about, kind of thing. So his experiences in his life, being the sole survivor of his family and, being the sole survivor of his combat unit on a cruise and being one of the only survivors of his colony, he could have ended up going either way. He could have perhaps become more religious as a result of him having been a survivor, or he could have become embittered and antagonistic towards the idea of a higher power. I'm not going to say he does. I'm not going to say she should keep it to herself, because that doesn't seem right. That seems suppressive, Not my place to judge. That's probably a pretty fair representation of how he feels. Not my place to judge.
Your beliefs are your business. I'm your commanding officer, not your moral compass.
Just my commanding officer, huh? We'll have to see about that.
Huh? Wait a minute. She just talked about how she thought me and Liara were hitting it off really well. Okay. Sorry, gang. Had a small interruption there, but forget what I was saying. Oh yeah, so it's a little weird that she'd be flirty right now, given that she just commented how she thought that Liara and I were flirty. We'll have to see about that. Shepard's he hasn't really made any moves in either direction, Liara or Ashley. Or Tali, for that matter. I guess from a roleplay perspective, there's no reason why we wouldn't think of Tali as a potential romantic interest as well, even though the game does not allow it at this point. So he wouldn't shut it down, but he wouldn't also be too aggressive about it. So let's just play the middle ground.
What are you saying, Williams?
Play dumb.
Me? I'm not saying anything, Skipper. I should get back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
How are we doing? No, she said she needs to get back to her duties. Let's leave her alone.
We'll talk later, Williams.
Looking forward to it, Skipper.
Okay, that ended up getting rather flirty there toward the end. Oh, let's talk to the requisitions officer. We got some
Looking
stuff we
for
could...
supplies?
Well, probably some stuff we could sell. Maybe some supplies.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
Right. Okay. Hey, whoa. We got a lot of cash at this point. Let's see what we can sell. Well, we won't sell those. We'll... what's the word? Omnigel. Probably... Oh my god, we got a lot of weapons. Okay, let's wait to sell anything until we refit everyone. Let's go check on Engineer Adams and Tali. A hum of a badass monster ship. Adams?
Something I can do for you, Commander.
Nope, just checking things out.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Vasnaraya? Is that her last name? Vasnaraya? Tali?
Shepard, I'm glad you're here.
Oh, really? What's happening?
Why are you so cheerful?
I'm sleeping much better now. I guess I'm getting used to how quiet your ship is.
Oh, that's good.
I still think a lot about my pilgrimage, though. I know Theron's our top priority, but with all the worlds we go to, I was hoping to find something to bring back to the flotilla.
Oh yeah, pilgrimage. What are you hoping to bring back?
What are you hoping to find?
Usually, people bring back something like a derelict ship we can use for salvage. But I need something bigger. There's a lot expected of me.
Why is that?
What's so special about you?
My father. He's the
Terrible way to
senior
phrase
member
that
of the
question.
Admiralty Board. He's one of only 5 people who can overrule the decisions of the Conclave for the good of the migrant fleet. My father is responsible for the lives of 17 million people. Our entire race is in his hands, and I'm his only child.
Holy cow. I didn't know that.
Why didn't you tell me this before?
I guess I'm just tired of people judging me because of who my father is.
Fair enough.
Everyone's waiting for me to do something great on my pilgrimage. Something that will forever change our lives for the better. If I don't, it's like I failed, and that reflects badly on both me and my father.
Hey, yeah. Tali, what about this? You help me kick ass against the bad guys and save the galaxy. You would be the most famous Quarian of all time.
The work you're doing here is more important than anything any Quarian has ever done before.
Yes, I know. But you have to understand Quarian culture. We're a very insular society. The events beyond the flotilla don't much matter to the average citizen. Our greatest dream is that one day we'll return to our homeworld and drive out the Geth. But even if we stop Saren, that's not going to happen. There's still millions of Geth behind the veil. Until they're gone, our exile will continue.
Okay, so what then?
What would you need to bring back to make everyone happy?
Something that would help us better understand the Geth. They've changed significantly since the exile. They've continued to evolve.
Let's
We've
bring
done
you a
our
Geth.
best to study them, but it's not easy. They're very reclusive. Until recently, they never went beyond the borders of the Veil. And all the Geth we run into now are under Saren's control. We'd need to find Geth operating on their own, independently. But I don't want this to get in the way of our mission, Shepard. First, we stop Saren. Then I'll worry about my own problems.
Tell me about your father.
What was your father like?
It wasn't easy growing up as the daughter of one of the Admiralty. Even before he joined the board, he was a prominent figure. People looked to him for leadership. He had to set an example, and he expected the same of his daughter. Plus, he was pretty strict, a military man through and through.
Couple of military daughters
He never
here.
allowed me to settle for anything less than excellence. As a kid, I sometimes felt like he was pushing me too hard. But now I'm old enough to appreciate what he taught me. The world doesn't owe us anything. If we want something in life, we have to earn it.
Sounds like you guys were close.
Sounds like a tough upbringing.
Oh,
You
no.
don't resent your
It
father
doesn't
at
sound
all?
like you guys were close.
Like I said, it wasn't easy. My father's not the kind of person you bond with. And he wasn't around all that much. Too busy. People counted on him, and he took his duties seriously. Even when he was around, he always seemed a bit distant. Like his mind was always somewhere else. Come to think of it, I can't ever remember seeing him smile.
Not through the mask.
Not once.
No, I know. They don't wear
It's
masks
like
in
he
the
was
flotilla.
always weighed
but-
down by all that
Wait, do they?
responsibility. I mean, I know he cares about me, but he never really showed it. Not in the usual way. I guess the best thing I can say about my father is that I respect him.
It just, I should not have been talking over her. Sorry for that, audience, but it just occurred to me. My understanding is they wear the suits when they're exposed to alien races, from their perspective, alien races, to prevent them from catching diseases that they don't have a high immunity for. So that would mean that as long as they're amongst their own kind, on their own sanitized ships, they would not need to wear the suits, right? But when you visit the Quarians in the series, they are always wearing the suits. Now, is that because you're coming onto the ship and they're doing that as a courtesy to you, so you don't have to wear any kind of suit? Or do they wear their suits all the time, even when they're just amongst their own people on the flotilla? I don't know. Maybe it's something, the ship that you visit in the flotilla in Mass Effect 2, I think, is like it's their flagship, or it's their government ship. It's this ship where the Admiralty Board does their business. So maybe on that ship, that's more like a diplomatic ship where they're going to have alien representatives coming and going, and so maybe they all wear their suits on that ship as a precaution. I don't know. I'm just thinking about all that because Tali said she'd never seen her father's smile, and I'd be like, well, yeah, you can't see anything behind the mask, but clearly she meant that she had seen him in the flesh and never seen him smile. So that would mean that they don't wear their suits then when they're around their own people. But we never see them not wearing their suits. It would have been cool, I'm going off on a tangent here, you guys, sorry. It would have been cool if in Mass Effect 2, when you visit the flotilla, that you and your alien, crew had to wear the suits on their ship, not the Quarian suits. You'd wear some kind of, fitted hazmat suit or protection suit for humans and Krogan and Turians and everything else. And that the Quarians got to walk around on the ship without their suits on for once. That'd be cool to see. I know that was kind of one of the running, not gags, but running, not themes either. I don't know. It was one of the things in the series that you never got to see the Quarians outside of their suits, with the exception of the very disappointing photo of Tali that you don't always, but you can see at the end of Mass Effect 3. But anyway, I think that would have been a neat thing to do. Would have shown off the aliens, would have, actually given you an idea what the Quarians look like, and it would have rang true with what it would be like being a guest on the flotilla's ships, where it would be the courteous thing for the visiting races to wear their suits so that the Quarians wouldn't have to all the time on their own ships. Anyway, that went on far too long. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so your father seems to have been a pretty influential person in your life. What about your mother?
Where was your mother in all this?
Mother was around, but she always seemed to kind of blend into the background. Almost like she was overshadowed by my father. He tends to do that to people. She passed on about 5 years ago. Some airborne virus that swept through the fleet. Happens sometimes when the filters start to break down. I think my father took it pretty hard. After she was gone, he became even more focused on his work. I think that was his way of dealing with the grief.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
That's kind of a rude thing to say after she talks about her mother dying. I think that's probably it, actually. Well, yeah, that's it. Take care, Tali. Good to talk to you.
I should go.
See you later.
Right. Okay, so we just talked everyone's ears off. And we've got some journal entries, I'm sure, and definitely some codex entries, which we'll tackle here in a moment. Depending on how many there are, I may break it up into one episode, all its own. So, I will say, before I start reading it, well, let's actually get up to the bridge first. CIC, I guess, not the bridge. They don't call it a bridge, I don't think. Okay, so we're going to check the codex. Actually, we have a level up, don't we? Let's do this first. Let's do another 2 barrier and another to Vanguard. Oh right, I didn't outfit anybody, did I? Oh well. We can always do that on missions too. Dr. Salion we need to find. Yes, that's right. And then of course we have Rex's mission 2 to find his armor. Krogan armor, which I think will be fun. And of course Pharaoh's. But we said our primary well, obviously our primary mission is to go to Pharaoh's, but the one that we're going to attack next is the one that we should have done before Noveria, but I forgot, and that is to find the Cerberus base, or investigate their activities in the Yangtze system. I would say the next one after that is probably this, well, actually, this may be the first one, Missing Person, just because it's right next door in the Strenuous system. That'll be the first one we tackle. Then probably the Cerberus one, just because that seems pretty critical. Then, depending on how far away that is, the Hawking Edda cluster, we may tackle that next. Argos Row, Kepler Verge. Okay, we'll probably just go through those as we are close to them. And then Pharos will be the next primary target.